Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 2079 of What Shift to Now, documenting the journey originally as I transitioned from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. And this is a package of, in this particular case, snack pack pudding. It's my granddaughter's, and I borrowed it for illustrative purposes for this video because our idiom today for Supersize Your Business was, the proof is in the pudding. And I talked about, is this really pudding? Of course it is. It's definitely commercialized, manufactured version of pudding, but it represents pudding to probably millions and millions of people in this country and in the world. I'm not sure if they sell it all around the world, but I think they do. I've been, in my travels, seen custards and puddings in containers and manufactured in a lot of different parts of the world. Why? Because it's sweet and delicious. Now, this idiom, the proof is in the pudding, is in the tasting, is really in the tasting. It speaks to the importance of the result. And I talked about in Supersize Your Business, well, to me, it's not just the result. It's also, do you get there in a way that is in alignment with your core values, your beliefs, your purpose, your making the world a better place, whatever you happen to believe in. So it's more than just the end result that matters. But this idiom speaks mostly to, hey, it's the end result that matters. It doesn't necessarily matter how you get there. It's the result will tell us if the way you got there was successful or not. You won't really know if the path you're following works until you get the result that you want. Actually, it comes from 17th century England, where pudding wasn't a sweet treat at all. It was actually a main course staple food in that time period in England, where it had meat and usually vegetables and broth and things together. So it was more like a main course than it was a dessert, but over time it morphed into a dessert. But the idiom came to mean, hey, until you taste the pudding, you're not sure if it's any good or not. And that comes home to me in a lot of different ways. Personally, I have always loved to cook, and I do a lot less of it now that I'm older and my vision's bad. I have been a recipe follower for a long, long time. When I first learned to cook as a kid, I would follow recipes, and sometimes they would work and sometimes they didn't, even if I followed the recipe to a T. And if you're a recipe cook, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you follow the recipe exactly, but they forget to put in all the tips and tricks and strategies and nuances of what they do to tweak that recipe. My grandmother's cutout cookies are a prime example of that. My sister spent literally decades attempting to duplicate my grandmother's cutout Christmas cookies. And every few years, she'd tell her some little tip or trick that she actually used that made them better. Something she substituted, or some method, or how she did a particular thing to make them as delicious as they were. And she passed away a few years ago now and hadn't revealed all of her secrets, but over trial and error and thousands of batches of cookies, my sister actually, I think her cookies might be better than Grandma's. Sorry, Grandma. But the proof is in the result. Now, look, here's an example of doing something over and over and over again and continuously improving and perfecting it till you get the result you want. And she'll still continue to perfect and make better and better cookies, probably for her entire life. And hopefully she'll leave a really good, really clear, specific recipe for her son and his family. And maybe she'll share it with the rest of us. I kind of doubt it. But, you know, cooks are kind of like people in corporate America, or leaders and managers and people in business. They like to keep their tips and tricks and strategies a secret, so nobody can really copy everything that they do because they think it's some kind of a competitive advantage. Guess what? Pretty much anything, and it wasn't that long ago that I actually had this epiphany, pretty much anything that we think we have a secret about or know more than anyone else, there's literally hundreds, if not thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that know that as well, or that already have figured that out for themselves. If you ever had an idea for something and all of a sudden then you'll see somebody out marketing and selling it, I sure have. And, you know, you think it's this unique idea, but the truth is that person probably had the idea around the same time you did, but they acted on it faster and created it, and it now shows up in the world. So that was our idiom for today. We're focusing on our contribution this month for the Get Up and Go challenge, for this year's annual challenge. We're spending 1 month on each of the 9 different areas and aspects of a life framework that I've used. I've only used the 9-part framework since 2021. In 2021, I added communication and confidence to my my framework, the framework I run my own personal life around and businesses, because I think they're core skills that can help all of us, right? I live to help other people go on and do the thing that they're meant to do. And if I can help them get foundational skills, then that makes me really happy, because I want all of us to make the world a better place. And the only way we can do that is if we're always becoming a better version of ourselves. So today we talked about our contribution thoughts and beliefs. What do we think? What do we believe? And then we're just brainstorming a list of at least 10 things today as we go about our day. So it's not extra or work or hard. It's just as you have a thought about how you're showing up in the world, or your contribution or your not contribution, what's the thought that pops into your head? Jot it down. And at the end of the day, we'll look at our list and we'll say, okay, are there any patterns here? Are we seeing something that's come up in other areas and aspects of our life? Is there a pattern of behavior? You know, if you have an underlying belief that you're not good enough, that will show up in probably every area and aspect of your life. But it'll definitely show up in several. So for example, my first one was, I want to make the world a better place. My second thought was, well, who do you think you are to make the world a better place? Which is another version of, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, right? And so obviously that belief is still in my subconscious, and I need to do some work to eliminate that this month. I'll probably be working on that a long time. You know, I wish I had a process that immediately eliminated something once and for all and forever. But I think until we're willing to let go of that and let go of all of the little beliefs that have been added onto it over the decades or of our lives, it'll still pop up and show it and rear its ugly head sometimes. All right, so we did brainstormed our thoughts and beliefs around the area of contribution, and the proof is in the pudding. Love. I actually really like that idiom because it reminds me that results matter, but also, in my opinion, how we get those results matters almost as much, right? I know that in communications, a lot of times we intend something, but it comes off another way. I had one of these with my daughter last night. I said something, and I just meant I wanted to do something too, and she took it as criticism. And so we have to be careful how we present things and how we communicate them. I guess that's it for me today. If I can help you anyway, ask. I've got huge projects I'm working on and getting ready for, so I don't want to dawdle. But if I can help you anyway, pajamagrandma@gmail.com is my Voxer handle. Secret. Quickest, easiest, fastest way to get a hold of me. It's not really a secret because I share at the end of this video probably once a week or so. But that is literally the fastest way to ask me a question or get my attention. That and commenting. All right. Have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.